All right, let's talk about something that seems like a total paradox: gases. I mean, you've got trillions of particles just zipping around in what looks like complete and utter chaos. But here's the crazy part. That chaos is actually governed by some of the most elegant, most predictable laws in all of physics. So, how does that work? How do we get such incredible order from something that looks so random? Let's dive in.
Yeah, really, how is that possible? How can you trust a spacesuit to keep you alive in the absolute nothingness of space? Or, how does a hot air balloon just float so gracefully when the very air inside them is basically just a chaotic swarm of particles? That right there, that's the big question we're going to unpack today. Okay, so to get a handle on all this chaos, we don't actually have to track every single one of those trillions of particles. I mean, can you imagine? Now, thankfully, there's a much easier way. We just need to look at three big picture things, the macroscopic properties that tell us pretty much everything we need to know. And those are pressure, volume, and temperature. So let's start with pressure. You feel it literally all the time, right? The air pressure on your skin right now, or when you pump up a bike tire. So what is it? In physics, it's actually super simple. It's just the amount of force being pushed onto a certain area. And here's the key thing to get. You don't need a huge force to get huge pressure. Just think about a needle. A tiny little push on that tiny little point creates enough pressure to go right through your skin. It's all about how concentrated that force is. Right, and this is where things get really interesting, because the pressure from a gas is totally different from the pressure from a solid. Think about a brick sitting on the ground. Its pressure is just, well, its weight. It's a constant, heavy, downward force. But a gas? Its pressure comes from something completely different. It's the result of a relentless, high-speed bombardment of trillions of tiny particles all slamming into the walls of their container over and over and over again. And that right there, that brings us to the real heart of it all. If we want to understand gas pressure, we have to zoom way, way in. We've got to ask the fundamental question, what is a gas really? Let's go explore that invisible world where all the action is happening. So obviously, we can't see individual gas molecules with our naked eyes, but we can absolutely see what they do. And this is a perfect example. Check it out. You've got this jar of brownish bromine gas on the bottom and a jar of plain old air on top with a little divider between them. Now watch what happens when you pull that divider out. The brown gas doesn't just sit there, does it? Nope, it starts spreading upwards, mixing all through the air until everything is one uniform color. That's diffusion, and it's stone-cold proof that these tiny particles are constantly moving, all on their own. But if you want the real smoking gun, the undeniable evidence, you have to look at something called Brownian motion. It's amazing. If you put tiny particles, like little specks of smoke, under a microscope, you'll see them jiggling and darting around like they're alive. But they're not. So what's going on? Well, they're being constantly bombarded by even smaller, totally invisible air molecules. And it was none other than Albert Einstein who figured this out and explained it, giving us that final undeniable proof that this invisible world of atoms is real. Okay, so let's recap. We've got proof. There are tiny particles, and they're in constant random motion. Now for the magic trick. How do we connect that microscopic chaos to the steady, predictable pressure that we can actually feel and measure in our world? Well, scientists came up with a really powerful tool for this, called the Kinetic Model of an Ideal Gas. Now, it's a simplified model and makes a few key assumptions to keep things manageable. Basically, it pictures gas particles as these tiny, perfect little spheres. They're constantly moving, they don't attract or repel each other, and when they hit something, they bounce off perfectly, without losing any energy. Think of them like microscopic, super bouncy billiard balls. Now, is it a perfect representation of reality? No. But is it incredibly useful for understanding how gases work? Absolutely. So how does this simple model explain something like pressure? Well, just picture one of those little particles inside a box. It's flying across, it smacks into a wall, and then it bounces off. In that split second of impact, it gives the wall a tiny little push. It transfers some of its momentum. And what is a push? Well, the push is a force. Now scale that up. The steady, constant pressure that you feel from a gas is nothing more than the grand total of trillions and trillions and trillions of those tiny little pushes all happening every single second, all averaged out over the surface of the container. It's amazing, really. All that chaos from the individual collisions, it adds up to create one smooth, steady, predictable force, order from chaos. And because that force is so predictable on a large scale, we can actually describe it with some beautifully simple rules that scientists discovered through experiments. We call them the gas laws. First up, we've got Boyle's Law. And honestly, this one just makes sense. Imagine you have some gas in a container, like a piston. If you squeeze it, you decrease its volume, right? Well, now those same particles have less space to fly around in, so they're going to smack into the walls way more often. And more collisions means more pressure. Simple as that.
And you can see this relationship perfectly on a graph. If you plot pressure against volume, you get this beautiful, clean curve. See how as the volume gets smaller along the bottom, the pressure just shoots straight up? It's what we call an inverse relationship, and it's super precise. If you cut the volume in half, you literally double the pressure.
Okay, next up is Charles's law. This one links temperature and volume. Now, it's important to remember what temperature is at this microscopic level. It's basically just a measure of how fast the particles are moving, their average kinetic energy. So if you heat up a gas, you're making its particles move faster. They're going to hit the walls harder and more often. Now, if you want to keep the pressure the same, something has to give. The gas has to expand, increasing its volume to give those speedy particles more room.
So these individual laws are great, but the real holy grail is when you combine them all together. And what you get is one of the most famous and powerful equations in all of science, the ideal gas law. PV equals nRT. It's so elegant. It links pressure, volume, and temperature all together in one beautiful package. This is the master key, the one equation that describes how most gases behave under most conditions. But you'll notice that word ideal keeps popping up. The model is brilliant, it's an amazing approximation, but how does it actually hold up in the real, messy world? And more importantly, can we use it to explain stuff we see every day? See, our ideal model pretends that the gas particles themselves take up no space and that they don't attract each other at all. But in the real world, they do. Now, most of the time, this doesn't really matter because they're so far apart. But if you crank the pressure way, way up or drop the temperature way, way down, you start to squeeze those particles really close together. And at that point, their actual size and the tiny little attractions between them suddenly start to become a factor. And that's when real gases start to deviate from that ideal behavior. For most everyday things, though, these laws are spot on. So, let's bring it all home. We're going to go full circle back to that question from the beginning. Now that we have all these tools, how exactly does a hot air balloon work? It's actually a perfect real-world demonstration of Charles's law in action. Okay, step 1. The pilot fires up the burner, which heats the air inside the balloon. That's an increase in temperature. Step 2. That extra heat makes the air molecules inside go nuts, zipping around way faster. They push outwards on the balloon's fabric, causing the whole thing to expand. That's an increase in volume. Now here's the clever part. The balloon is open at the bottom, so as it expands, some of that air actually escapes. This means you now have a huge balloon filled with hot air that has fewer molecules in it than the same amount of cool air outside. It's become less dense. And what happens to things that are less dense? They float. That giant bubble of hot, less dense air rises up, and it takes the basket and everyone in it right along with it. And there you have it. Out of the completely chaotic dance of trillions of invisible particles, these simple, powerful, and predictable laws just emerge. Laws that let us do incredible things, from engineering a simple balloon to designing a spacesuit that can keep someone alive in the void of space. We've connected the tiniest of tiny worlds to the huge world we see around us. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other invisible, elegant laws are out there quietly shaping our reality, just waiting for us to discover them?
If you liked this video, then don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.